Hey everybody, Bill in Thailand. Welcome back. So I am in the model railroad room in the old house here. Everything's painted. Focus can look outside, see tropical plants growing, everything's nice. So I've got the suitcases unpacked, and these are small suitcases. Like the gray one is actually a carry-on. If I don't stuff it too full, I can get quite a bit of stuff in, and it fits in the overhand luggage compartment. And I used to use that one for work quite a bit. And then this one is a smaller non-carry-on. It's not that big, it's sort of in the small range of suitcases. But I was able to get a fair amount inside. So everything that I've just panned across fit in the suitcases, except the flex track. I just put the flex track there because it's out of the way. I brought that last time. So you can kind of see what I was able to bring. A lot of scenery supplies, building kits, again, a lot of the foam, grass, different colors of stuff. There's a Campbell's grain elevator kit, car restoration and charter building, some bar mill stuff, a few buildings that I got that were already put together, a couple of nice bridges for end scale. I already kind of know where those are going to go. One bag of a little bit of cars and things. I've still got a lot of that in Iowa in boxes. A lot of it that are kits that I can put together and paint. I still have to find those. Again, a lot more woodland scenics material, some abutments, a bag of woodland scenic stuff. Some of those were open and I had taped the ends, but again, I got all of this at Caboose Stop Hobbies. I get collections in, some of it's used, some of it's not. I'll take it all when I find it. Foam. Here's some trees that you can get from China, or at least you used to in the United States. Probably not now, but any place else. I've had them before and I don't really like them, but I can blend these in now with what I'm going to do for the trees for the N-scale builds here. So it's okay, I'll paint them, make them a little different color. More N-scale building kits, Merchant Row from Walthers, another one, and then all of the bottles of Woodland Scenic ground foam materials for trees. Again, more Woodland Scenics, converter, power pack, which I need additional power packs. This is a bag of small tree kits that I've never seen before, and I'm going to have some fun when I get to using these. But they're perfect for end scale. They come with materials, so I'll play with these a little bit. Again, they're going to be interspersed with where I'm doing scratch built kits. Got this at Caboose Stop Hobbies, $50 for a nice Bachmann train set, complete, including transformer. Looked at the wheels on these, barely used the way it looks, nice and shiny for the wheels. More abutments, retaining walls. This is what I use for scratch building trees, so I will be able to cut these into small squares, pull them apart, make end scale trees and bushes out of those. More bridges, I've got quite a few of those. Another bag of Woodland Scenics material. Another power converter adapter, got that at a thrift store. I've got plenty of the plugs and stuff, but that for power pack, perfect. And then in here, a variety of switches. These are all used. I do need to clean them up and then I'll test them, but almost all of these are powered, a few of them not. Over here, another curve switch that's powered. Some code 80 switches. Some of these are not the exact same code for track, but they are all end scale. So the difference is very, very, very small, so I can tweak rail joiners to get the tracks to align, so I'm not too worried about that. So all in all, a pretty good supply of things that have come with me to build the end scales. I'm going to get a tote or two and put this stuff in, set it over here. Over here's materials that I've brought before with the model trains. Got a lot of the freight cars, engines over there, as well as some building kits and other things as well. Power pack up over there, box full of engines and cars, all kinds of stuff. So I am ready to get started on doing the track laying on the portable layout. This one is in the room. This is the room layout. I still have to build additional tables on this before this one goes. But all of this material here should go on the portable layout. I won't use everything, like I'm certainly not going to use all of that. I'll have plenty of stuff left over for this layout once I switch gears and then come back over here and then finish building the next set of tables. The track for this layout is down in that box there, plus some of the flex track that's over there. I have plenty of flex track that I'll have left over that I can use for the other layout, so no big deal. And if I would happen to use a lot and I need more, when I go back next year early, I've got about 5 times that pile sitting in my garage that I can bring a handful back with me. So plenty of stuff to go. So now it's time to get busy and do some modeling here. All right, I am a little closer to getting started here on modeling. Bought a couple of sawhorses off the local equivalent of Amazon, a company called Shopee, which is across all of Thailand and has some good deals. Got that at some good price, nice light duty sawhorses. Also picked up a couple of 4x8 sheets of 3-ply plywood. That is going to be the sub base on which my tracks will rest. I'm going to cut these into the size of the portable layout tables and then lay those down and then start putting my track on according to my roughed out track plan. And then once I get a final version, I will trace around the track on the different sections and then cut it and then use some styrofoam and make risers to get my grade and other things. Other stuff I just got in just now is my cork. So I've got my cork in here. I'm gonna unpack this. This is 3 millimeters, so the size for end scale. And then I will cut these into strips, and I'll show how I do that a little bit later, but making some progress. So I have the cork outside of the packaging now, and I'll just kind of let it sit for a while and flatten out a bit. So nice big sheet. Got 2 sheets of it here. Cut into strips for end scale. I will get a lot out of this, so I'll just let that sit. Plan is start cutting that, use these, and I also got a new circular saw, a little bit more powerful, so I can cut stuff quicker. So making some progress. So I've spent a little time this morning, and I have been ripping the thin plywood. So I've got all 4 of my sheets here, 2 of them just setting in place, and I'll put the other 2 on. Then what I can do is I can start taking the track that I have and the track plan that I just sort of sketched out, very rough. And I'll put, the track in the areas that will work, and I'll connect pieces and I'll make it kind of nice, and then I can start to draw lines around the different areas so that I can cut it out with a jigsaw. Some of this stuff will be elevated, some of it not, some of it will have industries, some of it not. So out of the 18-inch by 7-foot pieces, maybe 50, maybe 35% will remain. The other pieces and scrap I will take and use for risers, different things on the other layout, so nothing's going to really go to waste. So I'll get the other 2 pieces down, and I'll start to get some track out, and we will start to lay this layout out. So this will be the last segment in this video. I spent part of yesterday and a few hours this morning doing my mock-up on the layout of how I want the track laid out. This gives me an idea of establishing grades, which I use the styrofoam blocks to do. Grade from this trestle, which is the high point, goes a little over 1.3% down. This one just kind of comes up and then goes back down as well, so negligible grade on it, just put it in so I can do some more scenery. Going down from this side is a little over 2%, so that's going to be the steepest grade. But again, 2%, I can live with that. So what I'm gonna do is, like I've said before, I'm going to come in and I'm gonna use a Sharpie, and I will mark out on the plywood where my tracks are. You can see I kind of did a mark here already, and I can kind of come across so that I can cut the plywood to match all of the track layouts here, because the track will be on the plywood and then there will be cork under the track so that I can establish ballast and make a nice little above grade look for the track. The styrofoam blocks, I do like the elevations that they've established. So what I'm going to do is when I mark the track where I want to cut the plywood, I'm going to mark where these individual blocks are, so that I can then take these individual blocks and I will mark the blocks too, number it here and then number on the plywood, so that I can take these blocks and I can glue them onto the other styrofoam blocks that are underneath, and these will act as supplemental risers. What I will do is I'll come back in then and I will cut out a small piece of styrofoam where I've got my cross pieces, and then I will use scrap pieces of the plywood to come up and establish my tight non-moving grade support. So these two will be identical on each side, so that the plywood that I cut will lay flat, nice smooth across the transition. Coming across, I've got more like right there. I've got one I can do here, and then I can come up over to here and do one. So I'll have a variety of different supports all along this, so that the plywood is not going to go anywhere once it is cut. So let's talk scenery a little bit. So right in here is going to be one of my big scenery focal points. I'm going to have a river that's going to be going under this span of the bridge, kind of coming across, coming down. Once the plywood is removed, I'll build a small bridge here that's going over a deeper gorge. I'll cut into the styrofoam, make a riverbed. Underneath, I can put in a piece of scrap plywood sheet so that I've got a nice solid support for it. And then over here, there's going to be like slopes coming down. Same thing over here, kind of coming down. There's going to be probably bridge here, kind of coming across until I get over to here. Then another bridge where both of these will be coming out of a bigger mountain off this way. And then do other stuff over here. Over here, same thing, I'm going to have a tunnel portal about here. This river is going to come across and then pinch out as scenery comes up before this track goes into the tunnel portal. A lot of trees, so I can act that as a view block so that it gives the illusion the river's going farther, where it actually just stops about there. Over here, this will all be exposed, embankment coming down or flat. I'll use some board to make fascia and do some odds and ends with this. Big mountain here. There will be scenery backdrop over here as well. I will bring that up maybe 1.5 feet, 18 inches paint, just like I've done on my other layouts. Coming across, trying to have straight pieces where it crosses the seams so that I have less hassle. I'm not sure if I will just try to abut them or if I'm going to do like a little filler piece. Probably do a filler piece, just because I'm going to go to places where I know it's going to be uneven and it's going to be kind of difficult to get everything really nice and snug. So we'll do that later. Coming along in here, both tracks obtain the same elevation right about here. So then they're just the same, and then they go back down, be more scenery over here. Maybe a small station, road coming in, something. This piece over here will be the yard. Most of the plywood is going to stay. I might cut a little bit out over here, just so I can kind of transition scenery from kind of mountains off over here to kind of bring it down. This is where a majority of my building kits are going to go. I can make it look like a small town, an outskirts. a through yard. These tracks will not connect in the yard. For one thing, I don't have enough good switches that I would consider putting in, and again, I just want trains to be able to loop, and that's okay. I won't be doing a lot of switching. If I do, it'll be more for my own enjoyment because I will be in the operator pit when this is at shows, so that's going to be mostly for display. I'll have some trains just static sitting there along some businesses and industries. Going around to the other side, I do have a spur that's coming off right here. Again, you know, it's going to be fun. I'll have another nice set of bridges through here. This spur comes in and goes around and then goes into the yard. So that will be just a cutoff. So if I want a train to do something a little bit different, you know, I can have it come in and just go a little bit of a different direction. A high point comes down and picks up the line, goes to the inside, double line that I have there. The outside of the double line comes across, around, and this is the one that goes up and goes in. This one goes then around, and that comes to the inside track. And as noted before, the inside track comes around and then comes up and comes up to the bridge, where that one will go then. I hate this focus on this camera every time. Goes down, around, goes to the outside. This one connects to the inside loop as well. So, you know, this is going around, comes around, goes to the inside loop. Then I can have it come down through and then picks back up and then comes back over to this switch. So I could have one train doing a continuous loop there if I wanted, and that's kind of it where I'm at right now. So more scenery, more buildings over on this side. So I've got a pretty good idea of what it's going to look like when I'm done. So next steps for me will be to mark out everything, mark the locations of all of these foam blocks so that I know where I have my elevation reference points, mark the foam blocks so that I know which ones I want to use, and then cut the plywood, build some more bracing, and that will happen in the next video. So that's going to wrap this one up. I'm getting started, so things are going to start to move along pretty quick. Just one other thing to note, I built this one all out of sectional track. You can see all of the individual pieces. That's just so that I've got this down for the mock-up. I have plenty of flex track, so wherever possible, I will be using flex track to establish my sections here. For sure, over in the yard, these nice long straight sections will be flex track. You know, some of these broader curves will be flex track. You know, I'll use sectional track where it seems to be appropriate, especially at the interchange or the intersections of the different tables. You know, we'll take care of that later. That's it. That's where I'm at. So keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.